There's a long list of burning questions piling up at the door to the Ekhuruleni mayor's office these days. With News 24 investigations, Sikonathi Mantshantasha finally revealing that Mayor Nkosindiphile Xakhaza was at the scene of the 2023 nightclub murder of DJ Bongani Mfihlo, whom he in fact spent the night with. And the very same gunman implicated for the DJ's murder also stands accused of snuffing out the life of top city auditor Mpho Mafole.
They established, and this is what we are revealing, they established that the mayor's presence at that murder scene in 2023 had been hidden from the police and had been hidden from the investigators, had been hidden from the court, had been hidden from the public.
Later in our trending topic, a horror crash involving a scholar transport vehicle and a truck has left at least 13 children dead in Vanderbijlpark. And finally, protests erupted amidst the English cricket rebel tour of apartheid South Africa, with On This Day in South African History that's heard later in this show.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
For Roby's Pointless Braai Quiz today, we ask, what's the name of the main US city where protests against ICE raids have erupted during the current freezing conditions? I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. If you get it right, you might score a big prize, but don't hold your breath. My name's Graeme, this is The Lead, and this is the South African story. Moving to our top story today, and certainly the plot is thickening over in the so-called City of Peace, Ekhuruleni, with the revelations now brought to light by our very own investigative journalist, Sikonathi Mantshantasha. Sikonathi Unjani, welcome back to The Lead, now in 2026. Lots on the go.
Thank you, Graeme. Thank you. Greetings.
Absolutely. Let's begin with setting the scene of this latest piece of the puzzle in the Hunted series for News 24, Sikonathi. Last July, prosecutors did quite an interesting thing. They joined the investigation into the financial auditor Mpho Mafole's murder with the probe into popular DJ Bongani Mfihlo. Why? Why did that become the case?
So Mpho Mafole was the chief auditor at the Ekhuruleni municipality, and he was shot and killed on the 30th of June 2025. This was 3 days after he had submitted an audit report scathing of the municipality's conduct in awarding a 1.8 billion rand tender for the supply of chemical toilets. Now, when Mpho Mafole was killed, the police identified a suspect in his murder, Thabani Goodwill Nchalinjali. It turned out Mr. Nchalinjali had been arrested in 2023, September, for the murder of a disc jockey in Ekhuruleni, Bongani Mfihlo. When that link emerged, the police joined, they joined the investigation, and the court joined both murder cases. So they are both being heard at the Kempton Park Magistrates Court, and the suspect in the Bongani Mfihlo murder, one of the two suspects, is the sole suspect in the Mpho Mafole murder that's yet been apprehended.
Right. So now takes us then to set the scene a little bit further. What do we know regarding the circumstances of when Nchalinjali was then taken into custody for the DJ's murder? Take us back to that scene in 2023 when this crime played out in Club 88 in Kempton Park.
So, Graeme, in 2023, in September, the allegations are that security personnel linked to the now mayor, who was at that time an MMC for corporate and shared services in Ekhuruleni, which included risk and legal for that municipality. It is alleged that his security detail fetched Mr. Bongani Mfihlo, who owned his own nightclub in the town, and brought him to the place where he was murdered. At that time, on that night, he spent the night in the company and in conversation with Mr. Nkosindiphile Xakhaza, who a few months thereafter was elected mayor of the municipality. Bongani Mfihlo spent the night with Mr. Xakhaza, the whole night, in fact, and got into whatever it is that did happen. He got shot and killed by these two guards who handed themselves over to the police and claimed self-defense. these two gentlemen, Sitembiso Msomi and Tabani Goodwill Nchalinchali, at the time were employed by a company called 87 Future Enterprise, which was providing security services to the municipality.
Right. And then once this new investigating team on behalf of the SAPS's Serious Crime and Violence Unit within Gauteng started looking a little bit closer at the investigation into Mafole, and obviously, many sort of leads were coming up that were springing back, as we've already alluded to Mfihlo. A major obscurity was then revealed, which is what you're revealing to us today. What is that exactly, Sikonathi?
Graeme, absolutely. So when Mr. Mfihlo was murdered, his trial went through, he's still going through the court processes. It was handled by the Kempton Park Police Station. And when Mpho Mafole was killed 2 years later, now in 2025 in June, again the same police station handled the case. But because he was such a high-profile person in the municipality, the chief auditor, the case was transferred to the Gauteng Serious Crimes and Violence Unit. It is that unit that quickly cottoned on to the fact that the now Mayor Nkosindiphile Xakhaza had been present when Bongani Mfihlo was murdered, was killed in 2023, one by Goodwill Nchalinchali, who was now arrested by the police for the murder of Mpho Mafole. That's how they linked the investigation. They established, and this is what we are revealing, they established that the mayor's presence at that murder scene in 2023 had been hidden from the police and had been hidden from the investigators, had been hidden from the court, had been hidden from the public. That's what we have revealed today.
Sure, but it's not just that, right? Sources have also, obviously, they're fearful of revealing their true identity given the intensity of these particular cases, the politically charged nature of it all. What do we know about the police's investigation into the DJ's murder thus far? And what are your sources sort of telling you now about how the crime scene may have been allegedly tampered and scrubbed?
The Kempton Park police did not do a good job at all when they took hold of the crime scene for the Bongani Mfihlo murder. Firstly, they arrived there many hours after the murder, despite the police station being less than 2 kilometers away from where the crime took place. Two, when they got there, they did not or were not able to interview any witnesses. And this was in a nightclub that was full of people during the night. And when they arrived there, they could not or did not take statements from any eyewitnesses. Two, they quickly abandoned that crime scene and went back to the police station because the two men who had done the shooting had handed themselves over and claimed self-defense. So they left the crime scene as unattended and therefore compromised the investigation. But very importantly, even though that club is adorned with security cameras inside and outside, they obtained no footage of the incident, no footage whatsoever. And the only the few people they spoke to, they went back and wrote in the docket for the court that there were no witnesses as people were fearing for their lives and they couldn't testify.
Sure.
Then,
okay.
Then as we have said, Graeme, when 2 years later, when Mpho Mafole was killed, allegedly by one of the same suspects, the police linked the two and moved both cases to the Serious and Violent Crimes Unit. The new team of police investigators discovered that the mayor had been at the crime scene and tried to talk to him and tried to get his side of the story and tried to get an affidavit and struggled for months without success because allegedly the mayor did not want to talk to them and he used his political authority and said he would only talk to police management.
Sure, but he's given a statement now, is that right? And obviously given that the easy sort of reason is to not give the details in the public realm, he's claiming, of course, that it's sub judice and so that he can't give an awful lot of detail or nature regarding the statement that he's now finally given, right?
Graeme, yes, in December, mid-December, he confirmed to News 24 when we confronted him with questions. He confirmed that, yes, I have now given an affidavit to the police. And yes, I was at the crime scene on the day. And yes, I had met Mr. Bongani Mfihlo. This he confirmed to us late in December, mid-December, and said he'd given his statement, which appeared to have happened late in November or very early in December. After, I must repeat this now, it became untenable, and quite a few people got to know that the mayor had been present, because, amongst others, City Press newspaper, our sister paper, wrote in November that a certain high-ranking politician in Ekhuruleni was interfering with the probe and trying to hide his presence there. By that time, we already knew, Jeff Wicks and I, who are working on this story, we already knew who this person was, but for some reason, City Press did not name him, and City Press did not appear to have asked to have contacted him to clarify this. But we knew this in July already, that the mayor had been implicated in the murder of Bongani Mfihlo. We were now finding this out during the Mpho Mafole trial, who worked again for the municipality. So the curious thing here is, why would such a person as Nkosindiphile Xakhaza, the mayor, one, run away from the police in that he declined to cooperate with their investigation, and two, what does he have to hide? Why did he for 2 years refuse or at least not even tell the public or the council about his role or what he knew of this murder? And now it's quite curious that the same suspect for the Bongani Mfihlo murder, at which the mayor was present, is arrested for the murder of the chief auditor of the municipality, of which Xakhaza is the mayor. Why did the mayor say nothing?
So this makes it, and do we have this correctly, Mr. Mayor's the only official state witness in regards to the Mfihlo case as it stands?
We don't know if he will be called to court as a witness as yet, and we had to write the story particularly because since the trial has been taking place, he has never been, or his presence or association with this crime had never been formed, had never been part of the court proceedings. No one has ever mentioned it in court. No one has ever mentioned it anywhere where the formal processes had to apply. So we kept, as I said to you, it was in July already when we found out the mayor had been implicated. We kept this under wraps and kept waiting for him to be formally implicated, or at least as a witness or as a person of interest. When that did not happen, we decided let's release the news ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, just to end off, you've already previously exposed for News 24 in the Hunted series how the very same mayor, Nkosindiphile Xakhaza, publicly tried to draw links between Mafole's murder and other spurious city matters, and not the lucrative 1.8 billion rand chemical toilets tender that the auditor had raised serious red flags internally about before he was later gunned down. So, yeah, we're dealing with somebody here that's not necessarily allegedly very forthcoming, is he?
When Mpho Mafole was murdered on the 30th of June, he had just submitted an audit report to the municipality criticizing the municipality's handling of the thing and saying there's a lot of irregularities here. It appears corruption may be part of this, and the municipality certainly has not conducted itself very well in this tender. Please correct this. 3 days later, he was murdered. This was a 1.8 billion rand tender to supply the chemical mobile toilets. These are the toilets that are used in a place where there is no sanitation infrastructure. So he was killed 3 days later. And immediately, officials from the municipality started commenting about how great a man he was, and obviously the usual mourning about colleagues. But what I zoomed in on together with my colleague Jeff was the mayor's public speeches. He went out and said Mpho Mafole had been working on investigating the prolonged and inflated refurbishment of the semi-building in Germiston by the municipality, which was costing hundreds of millions of rand. He spoke about investigations into the electricity meter tampering and water in the municipality. He spoke about 3 other investigations and said Mpho had been working on these, and this is why he was killed. We noted that he did not at all mention the 1.8 billion rand chemical toilets tender, for which council already had received a report and was certainly fully aware of. So what was the mayor? Why was the mayor firstly making public statements about the motives for the murder of Mpho Mafole, and why did he omit the one investigation that Mpho exactly worked on? He did not work on any of the investigations that the mayor spoke about. So we concluded this is quite a bit curious. We wonder what the mayor has to hide. And of course, we asked the mayor, Mr. Mayor, why did you make all these allegations and try to divert attention away from the real thing that you know Mpho to have worked on? He said, Mr. Xakhaza responded by saying, listen, the mayor spoke publicly in general about the work of the municipality, and he did not provide, he literally disowned his own comments. He did not provide a motive for the matter, and he did not interfere in the investigation. That was his response.
Right, let's end off just very quickly here in a minute. Sikonathi, and Charlie, we of course know as the alleged chief gunman in both of these cases. He'd been out on bail in the Mfihlo matter at the time when he was cuffed for the Mafole matter. When is his case back in the dock? And I can imagine police and the NPA don't want to say an awful lot about everything that we've just spoken about, right?
Yeah, so there is a court process that where everything, of course, the police work through the courts and stuff. The cases, both of them, because they are now linked, Thabani Ntshalintsha together with Thembiso Msomi, they first appear on the dock on the Mfihlo case, and thereafter his accomplice in the first case gets off, and he remains alone in the dock for the Mafole murder. He will appear next on the 26th of January in court. He is in custody for this particular case, but he is out on bail on the Mfihlo case, which, and as I said, when he got arrested, he had been a free man on bail awaiting trial on the Mfihlo case. They are both being heard by the same court, and that makes life logistically, at least for him, a lot easier.
Absolutely. And that's one of our investigative journalists, Sikonathi Mantshantasha, with the very latest on the Hunted series. Ekhuruleni mayor placed at scene almost 2 years after DJ Bongani Mfihlo's murder is the very latest piece that is still trending on the front page of News 24. And Sikonathi, have a fantastic week.
Thank you, Graeme. Same to you.
You're listening to the latest edition of The Lead on News 24 with Graeme Rowenheimer. If you've got an opinion on what you've heard so far, drop us a short voice note on our WhatsApp hotline. That's 072 562 3179. Trending topic.
Shifting to our trending topic, it's been a harrowing start to the school year for several families in the Vaal. Monday morning's horror crash involving a scholar transport vehicle, a Toyota Quantum minibus, and a truck has left at least 13 children dead in Vanderbijlpark. That's at least the very latest as of the recording of this particular segment. Now, the collision occurred on a narrow stretch of the R553 that's behind the ArcelorMittal steel plant, with the children's vehicle reportedly reduced to a mangled metal and plastic heap. One affected family told News 24 that this was the very first time that their child had taken this particular scholar transport, as relatives now scramble to account for his remains. Authorities say the minibus driver tried to overtake two other vehicles before hitting the oncoming truck, with police opening a culpable homicide case now for investigation. President Cyril Ramaphosa, meanwhile, has issued his condolences, all whilst the driver currently recovers in a nearby hospital. Now, back in 2010, 10 children were killed, 4 others injured, when Jacob Humphreys, a minibus taxi driver, ignored the safety booms, overtook cars and illegally crossed the Butzkop level crossing in Cape Town, and a train smashed into their vehicle. Humphreys was later released from prison in 2018. Got more to add to the story? Drop us a comment below.
Listen Up is News 24's sharp new podcast, where hosts Tim Cohen and Mark Barnes cut through the clutter with bold takes and unfiltered insight.
They're not fighting for the good of South Africa. And so this is degenerated into a series of tit-for-tat spats. How's that for a bit of poetry early in the morning?
Smart, punchy, and unapologetically real.
President Ramaphosa has explained why he did it, and the reason he did it was because he said that people weren't allowed to go to America, and then Andrew Whitfield did, and then there's a dispute about whether or not he asked.
Catch new episodes of Listen Up every Tuesday on News 24 or wherever you get your podcasts.
I know a lot about this. Not really.
Yeah, there we go.
Here goes.
You could be the accused for a change. Go.
And finally,
Ending off with a brief on this day in South African history. That's the 19th of January 1990. Well, on this very day, police in Johannesburg had to use force to break up protests against the so-called rebel tour of South Africa by the English cricket team. Anti-apartheid pickets, including the ANC as well as the National Sports Congress, demonstrated against this visit, arguing that it legitimized apartheid sport at a time of major political change. The tour, captained by Mike Gatting and featuring players including David Graeme and John Embry, was organised by South African Cricket Union boss Ali Bacher at the time. Anger was further fueled by reports that the players were financially backed by the apartheid government rather than corporate sponsors. The protests then highlighted how deeply sport and politics intertwined in our country's history, especially on the eve of democracy. Oof, it's an easy one today, man. Well, that's at least if you've been following the news over the weekend. But what's your answer for Roby's pointless Braai quiz today? Well, we asked, what's the name of the main US city? That's the main US city where protests against ice raids erupted during the current freezing conditions. The answer is, of course, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Minneapolis, really stunning if you've looked at some of the pictures online. This beautiful river running through the city. Of course, the scene now of a different kind, with protests erupting against the ice raids that have been taking place. They're quite controversial indeed. Well, if this was your answer all along, congratulations. You score absolutely nothing. Perhaps you'll enjoy, though, the quiet satisfaction of sounding very informed around the Braai place. Some say that's priceless indeed. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of your comments. Keep them coming. Drop them below on this very podcast, wherever you get them. That's from Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Iono, wherever you like to listen to us. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. My name's Graeme, and so long as there's trusted news first, we'll have the lead.